Hey, working on a 2001 Ford Expedition 5.4 liter, taking the oil pan off. First off, make sure the vehicle is level. To take the cross member off, 15mm bolts. There's one under here that holds the diff. Once you get that cross member out the way, I recommend taking this shield off the front side of the diff, which will allow the oil pan to drop further. And then you have to take all the bolts off around it. The reason why I'm doing this is to check to see if the oil filter pickup is clogged, because I'm losing oil pressure. And it's a pretty simple, easy operation, and I'll show you some more steps. Alright, as you can see, the cross member's out. Not too hard once you get all the 15mm bolts out. And just a helpful note, once you take this cross member out, this is going to be loose. Okay? So because it's only got the one right there and the other one on the other side holding it. It's not going to go nowhere. I'm just letting you know it's loose. And the dust cover, all it is 3 10mm bolts. I'll show you. That's it, just 3 10mm bolts. Pull that off, falls off. And now you can get to the oil pan. Let me see if I can get this side in a second. I'll show you that. Just make sure everything's clear out the way. And you're ready to go. Alright, before you take the oil pan off, drain the oil. Okay? Get all that drained and then put the plug back in. Clean off all around the top, so that way just in case nothing falls in it. And then all of these are 13mm bolts. And you can get to every single one of them with a 13 deep well and an extension. You can get to every single one of them except for that one right there, which all you need is a shorty, a little short 13. On a wrench and get it. And I'm probably going to replace that oil sending unit too, just to, if this is clogged, just to make sure and do the oil change and all that good stuff. As you can see, the oil pan comes off. I had to drop the diff a little bit more. I had to take the front one out and drop it down to where I can get enough room in it. But once you get it down enough, the pan will drop a little bit, but if you turn it sideways, it'll come right over top of this and slide right on out. And what I found out is the oil pickup was clogged up. It had stuff all up in here, up inside. So I cleaned all that out and cleaned the oil pan out, so that way I could put it back and try to see if it'll fire up and keep oil pressure. So, I mean, this is just basically a last-ditch effort to see if it fixes it. If it doesn't, it'll probably need a new motor, because if you have to do the oil pump itself, it's actually attached to the crank, and what I've heard is you have to take the whole crank out to replace it. So, but we'll see how it is. Basically, put it back on the same way, come in at a slight angle, and get it back in there. Put a new gasket on it. I'm not, because this gasket still feels like it's still got a little life left in it, and it didn't stick when it came off. It just dropped right off, so I'm just going to put it like that. Since if I have to do everything else, I'm trying not to put too much money into this thing. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll let you know what happens. Alright, I had to drop the diff, the front differential, which is really easy. You got the 14mm here, and then the nuts 18. Under the bolt, have it supported. It's not going to go anywhere, but once you have it supported, use a jack or a scissor jack or anything that's needed, because it's not that heavy, and jack it up, unbolt it, pull the bolt out, lower the jack a little bit. It'll probably come off the jack. Use a little pry bar and pry it out of its holding location, and it'll eventually work its way down to where it's down below to enough space that way you can get the oil pan out. Very simple, easy operation. because you'll still have this one holding it and it won't go nowhere. So once you get it low enough to where you can drop the pan and rotate it out, then you just leave it right there. You can leave a jack underneath it so that way it's just there, and then clean the oil pickup and then clean the pan, clean it all out, get all the dirt and debris and all that gunk out of there, and then put it back up in there. Get a couple bolts started like I have to hold the oil pan. Jack the differential back up into its spot, put the bolt in there and put the nut on, and then you can take the jack out and finish the assembly. Tighten the oil pan, tighten the differential, get all the supports, the cross member back in, and then once you get all that stuff tightened, torque it to the torque specifications. I do not know that, but tighten to the torque specifications of the manual you use or what you can look up online. Tighten the torque, and then the cross member might have to be a little bit persuaded in there because when I undid the last bolt, it kind of pushed forwards. So get the bolt started and then tighten it down gradually so that way you don't cross thread nothing or do anything wrong. And then once you do finish all that, then put the shield on and then fill it up with oil. Change the oil filter. Make sure you do that too, which I'm going to do that. Change the oil filter, and that's it. And it's good to go. And then see what happens.